Chris Watkin back again on another estate agency story, and I'm joined by Nony Kerr-Smiley, who is a estate agent that's not the normal cookie cutter, a lady that's been in Winchester for a number of years, worked for a number of estate agents, and certainly pulling up trees. I guarantee you that she's certainly not out of the cookie cutter mold, and she is very different. Thanks for joining me today, Nony.
Morning.
Nony, I want to ask you about your story as an estate agent. I've been following you on social media for a while. People who I trust have said you need to get that lady on the sofa because she's a bit different. So if you don't mind, I just want to talk about your life story up until this point with the estate agency. But obviously, before you were born, you knew you wanted to be an estate agent. So
No, before I was born, I didn't actually think that, actually.
I'm sure there's more things more important in life than life, and that's estate agency. Nony, talk to me a bit about your childhood before you decided to become an estate agent.
Yeah, very interesting, actually. Grew up born in Essex. Funny enough, my now husband, my only husband, and I used to play together as children in the sandpit, which is really great. And then we moved away from Essex when I was 4, travelled around a bit. My father had a bit of a checkered history, so we travelled around a fair bit and ended up in Crystal Palace. And I left school basically when I was about 15 and a half. August birthday, left at 15 and a half with half an O level in my belt.
Half an O level.
Half an O level in my belt. We realised actually now, when I look back, I found studying really hard, which is something we can talk about as well. I could never learn from a book, and I've now realised it was probably, as it's been pointed out to me, a bit of ADHD, because I used to read a book, and you know how you read a textbook? You get to the bottom of the page, go, oh, yeah, I've got that. Turn over. What the hell was on that previous page? And I would do it 6 or 7 times, never got it. So academia was not for me.
Did you have any brothers and sisters?
One of each.
One of each.
And they're very successful, and one of them works for the United Nations, and one of them is a senior property manager in the city.
I don't want to go too deep, but I believe you had a challenging childhood. Was that?
Yeah, the parents weren't exactly great. So my mum left home when we were, well, I think I was 8 or 9 years old, and yeah, lived with my dad. And
Did you have to end up bringing up your siblings then?
yeah, my sister was 2 years old when my mum left, so I sort of became a sort of pseudo mum in the house. Actually, did all the shopping and the cooking and the cleaning from about the age of 10.
What did that teach you?
Do you know what it really, I think what it really taught me, which actually is probably relevant to how I am now, is deeply insecure person, but a lot of people in sales are, I think.
I would agree with you.
Deeply insecure, always looking for approval.
Yes.
Because I never really got it growing up.
Do you fear rejection?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because isn't it weird as estate agents, you put 100 houses on the market but lose 101? It's, ah!
Oh, isn't it weird as estate agents, or actually in life, you will do 20 brilliant things in a day, but you'll beat yourself up about the one that's not great. Why do we as humans not celebrate the 20 good things, but beat ourselves up over the one? But I do think that what I grew up with is probably what led me to being possibly as insecure as you could be.
So you are, you say you're insecure then?
Oh, yeah. And actually quite shy, which is really odd because I'm
really
outgoing.
But if you're insecure, you wouldn't be sat there, would you?
But I'm insecure in the things I don't control and the things I don't believe in. If I know my product and I know what I do and I know what I do well, I don't have a problem with that. Oh my God, I can go in and I'll pitch a house and I will say what we would do for them, not because I'm insecure, but because I 100% believe in what I'm doing. But you won't let me into a party because I don't like going to parties, because I don't like people I don't know in a big surrounding group.
You mentioned ADHD, and I've had a number of estate agents on this sofa with ADHD, and actually, I don't know if this will surprise you, whether you've seen the videos, but I actually have seen it as a superpower. If it's controlled is the wrong word, but dealt with and be made aware of. Jonathan Hanford, who works for Fine and Country, considered by many to be one of the best Fine and Country agents, uses his people skills, but also his the way his mind is wired up with ADHD for a superpower. And there's a few others who have said when the camera's off, I have mild ADHD, and they're, if you don't mind me using technical language, bloody good estate agents. And I know
There you go,
you
no
are.
shit, Sherlock. Yeah.
And if you don't mind me saying, I've know from people that have told me that you're a shit hot estate agent.
Thank you. That's generous, but I didn't know that that's what it was. All I knew was that I couldn't learn from a book. Highway code. Can anyone do the highway code? Everyone does the highway code. Could I do it? No. I would turn the page and go, I get it. I don't get it. And then I would burst into tears. And in the end, I got it out on video, Blockbusters. Remember the days? Oh, yeah. And actually watched it and got it, but I couldn't learn it from the book. But apparently the way I work is very like that. So when I was at work, I used to drive them nuts. I had Post-it notes everywhere. But it's the way I knew how to get things done. So, yeah.
What did you want to do when you grew up?
I wanted to work in hotels. I wanted hotel management because there was a very... Arthur Haley's Hotel was the show. James Brolin, Connie Secker, and it was very glamorous, and I wanted to be them.
So once you were basically carrying your family, you were watching the TV programs and said, I want to run a hotel.
Yeah, I wanted to do that. And Planet of the Apes was on. I just remember those two shows. There's something that was always on. That was in the 70s. But I left school in 1979 and not doing either.
With half an O level.
Half an O level, and then my mother threw me straight into Pitman Secretarial College. Learn how to type. That's what everyone did. Manual typewriters in those days. And left Secretarial College. Went for 2 jobs with the employment agent. One was £5,500 a year. Oh yeah, as an insurance secretary, and one was £3,000 a year working in a little TV company. So I took the £3,000 a year in the TV company.
Why?
Because I didn't need the money as such, because I was living at home, for this difference in price.
Had you moved now to your mum now, or do you move?
Yeah, so at this point, my mum had to take custody back because it actually got quite not particularly safe with my father's environment. And both my parents passed away now, but yeah, it wasn't particularly a brilliant time. So when I got to about 14, 15, the GP, because in those days, GPs were quite close to their patients, ran my mum up and said, you need to get back in that house. So she took the custody back over. My sister went off to boarding school, and I was kind of going out to work.
Did you enjoy working for the TV firm?
It was amazing.
You didn't pick it for the money, you picked because you thought it'd be good fun.
Yeah, it wasn't the money. It was £3,500 a year. It was £3,000 a year, but I actually negotiated my salary up to 3,500 before I started. And then I said to the boss who was interviewing me, I went, I kind of haven't got any O levels. And he said, I don't care. You don't need an O level in Latin to type my schedules. And I went, oh. And I suddenly felt I belonged somewhere.
Is that important to you?
Yeah.
Because before you switch the cameras on, you were talking about how, and we'll come on to it in a second, is that you were let down by one firm because of that lacking of belonging, that you were a square peg in a round hole. Because you do, you do come across as that.
I'm very much a square peg. Maybe again, now knowing that perhaps there was a bit of ADHD there, meant that I wasn't quite working in the way that they anticipated. But yes, I have to belong somewhere, and I don't leave my jobs. I was there for a while, then I went to another TV company. I was at LWT, like entertainment game shows, and I was there for 8, 9 years. Went to BBC. I don't chop and change jobs. I like to bed in and stay.
So you went up and you ended up being the right-hand lady to Esther Ransom. I bet that was fun, wasn't it?
That was the most incredible. That woman is probably the most inspirational woman out there. And a lot of people today don't, Esther who? But yeah, at the time. So basically, I was working in light entertainment game shows, and I was just thinking about coming out to do something else. And I'd applied to Childline for a job. And then Esther came as a guest on the show I was working on. And I said, I've just applied to Childline for a job. And she said, well, come and work for me. And I went, oh. And then she said, you can get Childline, but you keep your telly skills. You get it both. So I ended up being Esther's assistant, traveling around the country with her, helping to look after her charity work, helped by her secretary. And she had her other assistant at home, Julia, who looked after the whole of the home life. I looked after Esther Ransom rather than Wilcox. And that was an amazing job. And I did that for 5 years, liaising with Buckingham Palace, Downing Street, children who had been abused, who used to ring our phones, the parents who had been accused of stuff, they used to be ringing up on the direct lines and stuff. So dealing with all of that, I learned so much in that job.
What did you learn that's helped you in a estate agency?
I'll tell you exactly what I learned. One of the fathers who had been accused of doing something to his daughter rang up, and I got cross with him on the phone. I lost my temper, actually, and she just said, "Put the phone down." And she could look at me now. Everybody on that phone is, at the time, it was the Duchess of Kent's office. Everybody on the phone is Downing Street. You keep your temper in check. You treat everybody equally, and you keep your calm. That was the most, I will never forget that to this day. And that was back in 1990. And she was absolutely right. So how I now do it is I'm really calm with all my clients all the time.
Because estate agencies hard work that basically we get blamed for everything. Don't we?
Yeah. Absolutely. But
and it's a roller coaster. There's up there, you've got exchanges, you've got some listings, then you lose them, and everyone,
it's all our fault.
Everything's our fault.
Yeah. So when a buyer pulls out because they've lost their buyer, or because they've actually just changed their mind, it's our fault. Everything's our fault. But what I learnt is to remember that everybody that rings up and is angry, they're not angry at you, they're angry at a situation, and they're frustrated at a situation, but they're all right, they're all correct. Now they're feeling, you can't tell them they're wrong in how they're feeling. So it's how you're managing them feeling. So I think the sort of way I learned is, okay, Chris, I'm really sorry your house is, and I know why you're angry. I know how you're feeling that way. And I understand that, because you have to understand it. You can't do this job and not be empathetic. And that's what I learned. So that's why I get on so well with all my clients, and why I've had the same people for 25 years buy and sell with me. I don't give them any bull, but also I empathize and I hold their hands and I get it.
You're a classic relationship estate agent. There's not many of those around, by the way.
Do you know why?
Because they're transactional.
But also, when we started doing this job in the 1990s, you didn't have Rightmove. Didn't exist.
Things called hot boxes.
You had hot boxes. You wrote cards.
Yeah. Anyone in your 20s, kids, you had these plastic boxes where you put cards in, and you used to write name and addresses and telephone numbers and what they were looking for.
And notes.
Yeah.
And you had little funny notes, so that when a house came on in Acacia Avenue, there isn't an Acacia Avenue, but I just say there's Acacia Avenue, you go, who'd be good for this? And the way the card was written that day, and the ink that you used, blue ink that day, because the black had written out, you knew who you were looking for. And on the back, you'd written Mrs. Jones, 3 kids, Daisy, Mate, Basie, and John, or whatever, and the cats and the dogs, all on there. You know all about them, and you would go, hi, Mrs. Jones, I've got the house for you. But Rightmove killed that. So in those days, people used to come into your office, didn't they? And register with you and talk to you, and you built the relationship. Now, it's all this.
Rightmove and CRMs have killed estate agencies.
Yes, 100% they have.
Definitely. So you left TV because of children?
Well, yeah, because again, I'm a little bit competitive. Oops. And I didn't want to be the best assistant that Esther had until I had a baby. I didn't want that on my CV. She said, Esther going, Nony Kerr-Smiley, lovely assistant to me, best assistant I ever had until she had a child. So I thought I'd better leave at that point. She didn't want me to leave. She actually offered to set me up a little creche in the corner of White City where I could go in with the baby. But I couldn't be dealing with what was then John Major's office. Shows the dates, and the Princess of Wales's office, the original Princess of Wales, while having a baby teething in a corner. I just thought it's never going to work, and I wanted to leave on a high. So we moved out of London, came down to Hampshire because the schools were so good. It was close enough to home and family.
And let's be honest, everyone from London goes to Winchester, don't they?
But you know why? Because they're going to Cornwall on holiday, and they stop on the way, and they go, oh, that's quite nice.
And they don't stop at Basingstoke, though.
No, they don't. No, it's funny that. Yeah.
And they don't get as far as Eastleigh or Chandler's Ford.
Oh, you do know the area.
Yeah, you do.
No, there's nothing in Winchester. It's awfully nice.
It's awfully nice.
It's awfully nice.
Awfully nice.
Yeah. And it's known as Winch, obviously.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Or Ovs. What you like. Full of posh people. So you moved to Hampshire.
Yes.
You had some kids. How many kids?
Got 2 children. They're now 28 and 30. 30-year-old's any day having a baby. She's 38 weeks pregnant today.
Well, hopefully you should have had that by the time these videos come out, so I wish you well on that.
Good.
Might be getting a call now and whizzing back down the A1.
Yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, what? You're in labour. You have to wait 5 minutes. I'm just with Chris.
Was moving to Winchester as all you hoped?
It was a really good move for us, actually. It was 45 minutes to go up to London to see my mum when she needed me because she wasn't well anyway. And it was close enough to get everywhere from that. My husband was working in the city at the time, so he could hop on the train to London. But I was bored and I was never going to be a stay-at-home mum. Talking about chicken nuggets and Pampers did not sort my brain out, which needed to. And also, I went to a lunch party. Oh my God. And I remember this guy said, what do you do? I guess you just bring up children, don't you? And I went, yeah, but I used to work on Blind Date. I used to work on Going for a Laugh. I used to work for restaurant. Yeah, anyway. And then he was gone. And I thought, no, that's not enough for my identity. I need something. I need to be able to work.
But your job is not your identity.
But my job is my identity,
Okay.
I think. And maybe that's because growing up, I had no identity. And it was really quite a difficult time that actually I pile a lot into my work, which then becomes, maybe it's a little bit toxic in a way that my work environment becomes my family as well as my family.
In life, there's three pillars. You've got your work, you've got your family, and you've got your friends. Okay. By the sounds of it, you sound a bit of a workaholic.
Yeah, because back to what you're saying, you have to feel needed and wanted. So I've got the family, but I think I've taken them for granted to a fair amount, but I needed to feel justified and appreciated and be told that I'm good at something.
Has
And
that
I
been
was good at
been
work.
to the detriment of, say, family, your husband, or has he just kind of
Husband,
accepted you for what he is?
he's pretty damn decent, actually. He's fed up with me. Yeah, he gets me. But I think
that's important, though, isn't it, in a relationship, that you the other partner has to, and is he the complete opposite to you,
oh yeah,
the yin and yang?
definitely. I'm the workaholic. He'd rather be digging me allotment.
Whatever lights your candle.
Yeah, but if I see another runner bean, I'm going to kill him.
Is it wrong? Especially the stringless ones.
Yeah. They come all at once, though.
How did you meet your husband, by the way?
Funny enough, in the sandpit when we were 4 years old,
Oh, yeah, right.
right? And then we sort of went like that, and our families didn't really communicate for many years. And then in London, turned out we knew people in common, went to a party that I didn't really want to go to.
Because you don't like parties.
Because I don't like parties. Seriously, I don't like parties. I feel quite anxious in case there's no one there I like or don't like me. And then you can't get away.
Because that's quite weird, because most estate agents tend to be the life and soul of the party.
I can be the life and soul of the party if I know everyone in the room.
Ah, that's...
Then I can perform. Yeah, so we live 10 houses away from each other in Clapham Junction. And yeah, met him at this party. And then we went for dinner and we got engaged within 4 days.
Well, they do say that you should get engaged anywhere between seven. And is it if it's less than 7 weeks, it's too short, or is it and then not as much as 7 years? You did have.
Yeah, no, but actually, let's just say that we did know each other from when we were 4.
Fair goes then. So I'll
We'll
give you
take
that one. I'll give you that one.
So yeah,
Well, he obviously saw that you were a bit of a keeper, and you had to put a ring on it, as they say.
yeah, maybe so. It was quite a nice ring, though.
I'm sure it is. Okay, so you decided you wanted to do something.
I had to work. So he was working in London. So I thought the only time I could actually work would be the weekends. So he would be, in the weekends I'd go, Daddy, meet your babies. I'm going out now. And I answered an advert in the Hampshire Chronicle in the days that the local papers put adverts in for back again in the 1990s. People did that then. For a weekend assistant. And I went, yeah, I'll do that. I'll go and do some viewings on weekends.
Did you enjoy it?
Loved it.
So that was Lindsay's that got taken over by Goadsby's in around
2006.
around there. Okay.
Yeah,
Did things change when Goadsby took over?
Yeah, hugely.
Because they're a bit of a chain, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Lindsay's was the old-fashioned local company that everybody
Old
liked.
chartered surveyors, been around, bit of farming, bit of agriculture, that sort of thing, or?
Yeah, and so on. And they knew their market really well, and it was a lovely little local independent company, and they had.
This is in Winchester.
Yeah, they had 3 or 4 branches, but I was in the Winch office.
Winch.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was in the Winch office, and yeah, and we used to look after all the nice houses around the place, and then they got taken over, and I remember the Goadsby bosses coming down and go, "Got an idea for you. There's an awful lot of competition for the nice houses in Winchester. Why don't you guys just do the council estate houses and be the best ever? And just take over all of the council house houses and not do the others.
Right.
Oh, okay, lovely. Not quite the market I was used to. So I think everybody just about left the Lindsay's office shortly after that, and they went their way. Goatsby went their way. I mean, it's a successful company, but it wasn't quite me. And then I went to work for another company on the high street.
So that was Charters,
I was there for 10 years.
in Winch. Um, that was around the time of the financial crash, 2009. So
Yeah, I mean, I was there yeah, around that time. That's when they opened. And they said, the best time to open a company is when the market is difficult. And they were absolutely right. And they opened up a big glitzy office, and everyone's going, who are they? And they opened 7 days a week. No one was open 7 days a week in those days. And they worked really hard. The two bosses were there every day and created a brilliant company.
I must admit they've just sold out to Lomond, haven't they?
They have just sold out to Lehman.
What was it like in the early days at Charters?
It's interesting because I went in there already very insecure because I was told in the previous place that women, by the way, um, women don't make good managers in sales.
This is with you with Goatsby's or the independent firm,
That was when I was at Lindsay's.
right?
One
So
one
whilst they were old school, they were a bit too old school.
maybe, but maybe it was just a way of just keeping me in my corner. But they did say, one of them said to me at one point, because I said, "Can I be a manager? Can I progress?" No, 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 no. Women make very good estate agents, but they don't make good managers in sales. They're doing lettings, but in sales, you'll never get a woman sales manager to run a branch. And if you look around, hardly any did. And they were absolutely right at the time. There were hardly any female managers because they need to get home to their children. And if the kids are ill, oh, mummy has to go home. And they'll want to go to sports days and they'll want to go to school plays and so on. So women, yeah, women don't, but they do lettings because it's a shorter day and it's less stressful. So I thought, oh, and then, so then when I was in that one, I thought I have to work as hard as I can to prove myself. And then I thought I have to work not just as hard as the men, because then I'm on an equal footing. That doesn't make me stand out. I have to work better than them and sell more houses than them to show that I'm good. And then I went, okay, can I be promoted now? Why would I want to promote my best salesperson when she makes me this much money when she could do that? So
And this is still at Lindsay's when you were
yeah,
doing this. So did you think going to Charters was a breath of fresh air, brand new start, two hardworking
it was
bosses?
glitzy and an incredible place. Now, we did have, my husband and I had a few financial issues around that time. So, actually, being in a stable company and earning some good money, we actually needed that at the time. So, I
Well, if
went
you worked in the
there.
city around the financial crash, so everyone was finding it
Yeah,
hard
he was
work.
out in the city by then and he'd changed his job and he was now in marketing.
So yeah, even just as hard.
It was just as hard. Set up a little magazine and he was working on that, but we needed some more cash. So I needed a job to work hard. And the company, Charters, was an incredible company. It was only a one branch and 4 sales managers, and it made worked really hard.
Well, I can remember seeing them in Winchester.
Yeah.
And I've seen their growth more since 2011, which actually is only a couple of years since it started. I love their marketing.
Slick.
Yeah, it takes a lot to impress me, but I was very impressed in the teens. I think, if you don't mind me saying, they took their eye off the ball towards the late teens. That's just my opinion, but I think in the 2011 to 2017, there was no one I think you could hold account. Hold on.
Oh, I would totally agree with that.
They're,
They
they're-
were absolutely slick as heck, and processes and structures brilliant. I learned a lot there too, and compliance and getting things right and making sure you return all the calls by 11 o'clock in the morning, and everything was regimented and brilliant.
Did they take into account your ADHD and
I didn't take into account my ADHD. I hadn't even realised. I was just pedaling like hell to try and get through. It's only now and latterly, probably about 6 months ago, that somebody said that that's probably what I had.
so if I asked the bosses of Charters at the time, you got this lady called Nony, what you just see her as like a mad scientist lady, just
Mm.
like a whirlwind, but she did the job.
They would say I was barking mad, um, but brilliant at what I did.
And were you
But
valuing
parking,
as well as negging? Or?
no negging.
So you were a shit hot neg.
I made them $1 million a year, 3 years running, when my colleagues were making 300 grand a year. But I was working 16, 17 hours a day.
Did they appreciate that?
That's a really difficult question. Yes, because I made them a lot of money and they knew I was working 16, 17 hours a day. And of course they were going to use that because they were going, that's great. Aren't we lucky to have somebody making all of that? But it did cause a disruption and unevenness.
And anomaly within the office that someone was pulling in 3 times as much.
Yeah. But then the trouble is then they would give me other jobs to do as well, because I was quite capable. The more you give me, the more I'll do. And the more money I made, they raised my target. So I was running like hell to stand still.
Because I know you prided yourself in doing your marketing that was over and above a normal neg. You were, if memory serves you well, when we spoke a few months ago, you did your own newsletter and you were pushing it out to individual people on a manual basis.
I would. So on a Friday night, I'd go home 10 o'clock at night and I'd write a newsletter to all the database because I didn't have time necessarily to phone out all the houses. So I would create a really funny newsletter with little news stories in as well. And then all the houses that had come on and all the price reductions, and I'd send it out to the database. Then the calls would come in and then I would manage to sell some houses.
How was your relationship with your fellow negs? Because there's you doing that.
Antsy, really. Yeah, because they would then find it difficult that I was outselling them. But also what then happened, if I'm really honest, that when I look back, I was thinking I was probably a nightmare, because I was outselling all of them, but I was also taking over so much stuff that the clients just wanted to deal with me. And then it was like they'd ring up and they'd go, is Nony there? No, she's not here. Can I help? No, can only call me back, please. And it made an imbalanced office.
COVID hit. What happened then?
COVID hit. Some of the staff were laid off.
Laid off?
Well, no, sorry, put on furlough. On full pay for the first little while, and then they were on furlough pay. I said, please don't send me home with nothing to do, because I would go nuts. So I said, if you're going to be topping up the wages, I'll work for no money, just take the furlough money. I will work for free for you. Don't top up my wages. I'll keep working. You need somebody to answer the phone. You need somebody to keep working. If you're going to be topping that up, just keep me working for free. Anyway, so I worked for free throughout the 3 months of lockdown.
You weren't on the furlough?
I worked for the main period of furlough. Sold lots of houses, funnily enough, because I was talking people through things, used to do video viewings and whatever. And
of course, if you were furloughed, you weren't allowed to work. So by not being on furlough,
I was able to be at home at the office working.
But they couldn't pay you?
Yeah, I was only taking a proportion of the salary.
They must have been chuffed to bits that their wages were covered by the furlough scheme and you were working almost for peanuts.
I think so. I think there was more going on in the background now that I think about it. I think they actually probably wanted me to actually go on furlough and not be there. But I was managing a really difficult sale going through the 3-link chain, and I did not want to dump everybody. So I said, please let me continue to work, because I have to see this 3-link chain through to exchange and completion, because these people were desperate. So in the end, they said yes. But actually, I think the writing was on the wall, and I think they were trying to find a way to maybe engineer me out the firm by then.
Because you were a square peg in a round hole?
As a disruptor, I think I upset more colleagues. I think the colleagues were harshly hacked off. They'd be in the pub at 7 o'clock in the evening. I'd still be in the office at 10 o'clock at night. And I just think it was probably not necessarily a good thing.
What about your relationship with your husband whilst you were working these stupid hours? Or was he so laid back that he's on his allotment and he don't worry about it?
No, 10 o'clock at night, you wasn't. Patient. It was the children more,
Well, they'd have flown the nest by now, wouldn't they?
Ellie was at uni by then, and Emma used to ring me up at 9 o'clock at night going, the apprentice is starting, you coming home? Go, yeah, I'm in the car. I wasn't in the car.
How did that make you feel, that basically you were queen bee? I know you weren't the queen, you weren't the queen, but you were queen bee neg, and the biggest cash cow, you, was being forced out. I mean, if you don't mind me saying, yeah, I'm going to ask 2 questions. First part, how did you feel about that?
So basically, what happened? They then, as soon as everyone started coming back off furlough, they then sent me home on furlough, which I didn't quite get. And I suddenly thought, oh my God, I've got a funny feeling I'm not going back. And that was a horrible shock, really. I didn't know what to do because I'd never not worked for 40 odd years. Then I was at home and I thought, don't they want me anymore? They said I had a job for life. They literally said the words, I had a job for life. And suddenly I don't have a job for life. I don't know what's going on here. So I felt rudderless. And then I was asked to go back in for a meeting in August. And the director said, I've got a new job for you. Okay. They said, we're going to make you head of country homes, 3 to 6 million. I don't want to do country homes 3 to 6 million. Across Hampshire, Wiltshire, Dorset, Isle of Wight, and your office can be in London. Here's some business cards. I'm a 3-bed semi in Winchester girl, and I've done this job forever, and people come to me. I'm in the middle of trying to work on a house at 1.8 million. Can I continue that? No. 3 to 6 mil. Hampshire,
Is
Wiltshire,
that your
Dorset,
market?
Isle of Wight.
So is that your market? You're not a lower to middle market. Is that
We
you?
know everything, but I certainly wasn't 3 to 6 million across Isle of Wight,
Well, it's
Oxfordshire.
that patch is way too big.
Yeah, way outside anything I knew. And I already knew that that market was beautifully covered by Knight Frank, Savills, and the people that do it. So why would I do that?
Had you had an experience dealing with the posh end when at Winchy?
But, Richie now. Oh, you're getting very familiar. Um, up to about 2.5 mil, but not 4, 5, 6 mil. And
They do
certainly,
change, don't they? It's a different world.
it's a whole different, but it's not one I really do. I mean, even now that we're on our own, we'll come back to that. We don't do houses at 4 million. And when we're asked by people to go and have a look at them, we say, no, we'll stay in our lane, thank you. It's a different market and it's a different level.
If you had to describe your specialisation as a supermarket brand, they were asking you to go to Selfridges.
Oh, no, they didn't want, no, Selfridges, no. They would ask me to go to
Like,
Fortnum and Mason.
And you were nicely in your
Waitrose.
lane as a what? As a Marks and Spencer, Sainsbury's.
No, I'll go to John Lewis Waitrose, thanks.
Okay, you'll do one. Okay, we'll give it. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I'll go there, thanks.
but not Fortnum and Mason with £10 a slice of ham.
Yeah, you see that's fine at Christmas for a hamper, the odd little double. But no, I'm John Lewis Waitrose, very happy in my lane. So they said Hampshire, Wiltshire, Dorset, all across. I mean, I'm it was coming up 60. I didn't want to be driving through the streets of Oxford trying to find a house with no street lamps, in the middle of the night, and my eyesight's not that great by the time it comes to evenings. No, that wasn't for me. So I said, well, just make me redundant then. And they said, no, we've offered you a job, so I'm not giving you redundancy. And I said, well, that's nuts. You've asked me to do a job I don't really want to do. So I ended up leaving, 4 weeks notice, out the door, and I was at home not knowing what to do. Crying a lot.
And because of what we said earlier in the video, your rejection, your fear of rejection was really kicking in.
Oh yeah, because suddenly they didn't want me. I literally felt, if you ask for an analogy, I seriously felt they'd put me into the recycling, actually not even the recycling, into the black bin bag with the potato peelings because I wasn't needed anymore. So smile and move on. So then I'm at home and I'm crying.
Smile and wave.
Do that. So there was some choice language.
Okay, what did you learn from that? So we can teach the ladies and gentlemen watching this how to get through that. I mean, this is the ultimate losing the listing.
This is a serious losing listing. To be fair, I had one lesson of that back in 2006 when Lindsay sold to Goadsby.
Yes.
And I thought, I felt quite cheated but I felt broken a bit by that.
Yes.
So I thought at any time people can do things and whatever. So, but I did feel very hurt by the fact that they put me out the potato peelings. But anyway, what did you learn by that? I don't know. What did I learn by that? I was devastated, but there's always another way to go, and there is always a way out. Even if you're at your worst despair, there's always a way out. My way out came in 2 different phone calls. First phone call was a great friend of ours, Julian at Martin & Co, who was a really good friend. And he rang up and he went, "You all right?"
Had he heard that you'd gone?
That's the other thing. When I was sobbing when it first happened, I would have clients ringing up going, oh my God, we've just heard what's happened. Are you okay? Clients were doing that, which is really extraordinary because I was just an estate agent. But literally, I was sobbing down the phone to client. It's really miserable. But then, yes, everyone knew. So then Julian said, why don't you come and do a few hours with us and get a bit of structure? Don't need anyone forever, but I could do with somebody. We can call you a consultant. Just come in, do a few hours, get a bit of structure back because you need to get out of bed and stop crying. So, okay, so I did a few weeks there, just helping out in the sales office for a bit. But then they didn't really need me by October. I went back home again and I was lost, if I'm honest, because again, I've never not been needed. I've gone from one job to another because I've been needed and wanted.
And you crave that because you've said that
And I
throughout the
craved
chat.
it and needed it. And to feel that no one wanted you when I knew I was good was really devastating because that was a whole heap of my identity gone. I was back to chicken nuggets and Pampers back in 1998.
How did your husband support you through this?
Well, it was really awkward actually because he was working for the company who just let me go.
Really?
So he was working in a different branch. So he was in one of the rural branches. In fact, he'd have loved the job with 3 to 6 million across the whole of Hampshire, Wiltshire, Dorset, because he's a country boy and I'm a town girl. And he's grumbling in the corner.
He's grumbling in the corner, and
You can be quiet over there. So it was difficult. It was awkward. But he gave as much comfort as he could. But what can you do? You know, wife's a bit broken. Children were helping where they could.
Okay, so but come on, how did you square it in your head? What advice would you give to someone watching this? I mean, I've been through the same myself, but I was told to make 6 people redundant, and then the area manager came in and said, "Right, we're making you redundant."
Oh my God! So
Yeah.
that thing, like they came for me, they came for them, they came for them, they came for them. Now they're coming for me. Yeah.
And sometimes in this world, the best presents come worst wrapped, don't they?
100% right. I mean, if you look back now, I mean, years ago, somebody I worked with called Rob said, you know what, you could do this on your own. You are a one-woman powerhouse. You can run your own business. Why are you even working there? And I said, no, I need them. I need them. I need the chandelier. I need the leather sofa. I need the backup because they've told me I need it. You're only good because we make you good. But actually, when it comes to it, you don't need anybody. You are yourself, and you need to actually have confidence in who you are. I was good. People came to me because I was good. So you are good. If you know that you're good at what you do, you should believe in yourself because somebody else is going to believe in you too.
Okay, but you said to me that you find that difficult to believe in yourself.
I needed somebody to show it to me. So then I'm at home thinking, what am I going to do next? And the phone rings. There's a client.
This is the second call. So you've had Julian.
Done, Julian.
Yeah.
And we looked at
Love
various
Julian, by the
things.
way. Love you to bits.
Yeah, I love Julian. Yeah. So, and we looked at a few options. So we then thought maybe we should go on our own, on my own. So I looked at EXP, Ben Moore, brilliant guy. Do you follow him?
Love him.
Love
Yeah.
Ben Moore. Had a few chats with him too. Go right, mate. Oh, I love him. And then we had a Zoom call with Adam Day, and we thought, shall we go down the EXP thing? But I didn't like the photos on the board, and I wasn't sure I really wanted to go totally out on my own because I was still feeling quite insecure, really, and a bit broken about what happens if that doesn't work. We looked at the Fine and Country, and we had a chat with them. And I knew Ian Mackenzie, so I rang him up at one point.
Look, because he's a Winchester lad as well.
I love Ian Mackenzie.
Yes, very good.
He was such complete when I was at Lindsay's. So
He is an absolute legend.
yeah, he really is, and he's such a nice guy. So I had a chat with him, and there was a third one. We talked to Keller Williams, which was never really going to be my thing. We had a meeting with a guy from Keller Williams, and that wasn't great. Wasn't quite sure which way to go. And then Julian said, "Why don't you do something under our umbrella?" And I went, "Oh, no, it's okay, thanks." I still wasn't sure what to do because Martin & Co wasn't quite the branding that I was used to.
No.
And I wasn't sure it was going to work. But however, then it all came as a catalyst because I got a phone call. Hi, Mike, you're right. Yeah. He said, where the bloody hell are you? And it was an old client. And I said, well, I'm at home and crying and watching Netflix, actually. I've just watched the whole of The Crown. Do you want a synopsis? And he said, no, I need you to sell my house. I went, oh. So ultimately, I said, well, I'm not working for anyone. He said, well, I need a buyer by Friday, and it's only you I will ever use. So you better sort your shit out and sort it out because I've got 4 days to find a buyer for my property, and it's only you I'll ever use. And
So
that was a
actually,
Monday.
Mike was the knight in shining armour.
Oh, and he knows it.
Obviously with Julian as well being a catalyst.
Well,
as
no,
well.
because then what happened, because I didn't have time to think what to do next, because it's a bit like Sherlock. Yeah, what Sherlock? I love it, Sherlock. You know, when all the numbers come floating down in front of your head, I was going, okay. Now, my electricity had gone off the week before, just for a day, a flip of a thing, and I had to get an electrician out. And the electrician went, "Hello, Nony, I remember you. I was at school with your kids. If you need a photographer for houses, my girlfriend does property photography." I went, "Oh, okay."
Sounded like stars are beginning to align.
So that was in the background from the week before. Mike's going, "Where the hell are you?" So I thought, okay, well, I've got a photographer. Now I need Rightmove. Didn't even think about going back to work. I just wanted to help Mike out, to be fair. And so I rang up Julian. I went, "Jules," he went, "Yeah, how's the crying and watching Netflix going for you?" And I went, "It's, yeah, okay, I need your help." He said, "What do you want?" I said, "I need your Rightmove."
Yep.
And he went, "Yeah, fill your boots. I'm paying for the bloody thing, so you might as well." So is this as a consultant for Martin & Co? Because you can't do it on your own, because that's upselling.
Yeah.
It has to be with you. I went, "Yeah, with you. Can I join you as your consultant and sell this house? I've got a photographer. Do this, do that." He said, "Yeah, fill your boots." So we did that. Got the photography done, got Matterports done, because we were just coming out of COVID. It was late 2020, and sold the house by Friday. I was a little bit impish. I just stick it on Facebook and LinkedIn just to annoy people that are maybe
A certain firm.
just being a bit child. Put on there going, "I've just sold this house, £1.5 million in St Cross," which is the posh bit of Winchester.
Yeah, Winchy.
And I put that on, and what I didn't expect was what would happen next. "Hello, hi, it's John. Hi, John. Are you back?" And I went, "No. Why? Can you sell mine?" "Julian, yeah, can I?" Yeah. So that's how it all came about, really. So we're now, I haven't shown you this, we've sold more than 170 properties.
Okay.
Sam had to leave the previous employees because they kept thinking we were dropping them leads. We weren't dropping them, taking leads or anything. When I left, I didn't take databases. I don't believe in that. I'm really honest. We've sold more than 170 properties, working from the kitchen.
Stuff that. I like that. There you go.
Yeah, it's.
How many of those have you got?
We do a new one every 3 months.
Do you? Well, if you leave it here, it could go onto the wall of.
Can it?
It can do if you want. Would you like it to go on the wall?
But with a beer can, that'd be lovely.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll put that on afterwards.
Okay.
And that can appear on the famous Watkinsofa wall of thingy.
So
I like that.
The photography is what's about. I tell you,
do you know what it's lacking? Do you know what it's lacking?
What?
Awful souls everywhere.
No, I don't want that. I don't want that.
So now you've been running your own estate agency.
My favourite bit.
Beautiful.
Which is all the buyers on the back.
Yeah.
So basically, what then happened was.
Why don't you put the buyer with each property?
We don't want to do that. I don't want to tie it in.
Oh, matches them up. Yep, yeah, fair goes then. Yep.
I don't want to do that, but also here it's just fun pages, then
okay,
just handing over keys. But on my website, I've got the property with each review underneath. So what happened then? 170 houses later, and we're bossing it. We are loving what we're doing. We deliberately take no more than 10 houses ever. We turn down more than we take.
So are you working, do you have a separate brand on, and is it a bit like everyone, with EXP, Chris Watkin powered by EXP, you're Nony powered by Martin & Co?
So the clients, to be absolutely honest, the clients signed a Martin & Co agreement, so there was no compliance break.
Yep.
So Eric Walker has been a great supporter.
Love Eric.
So, and they've been very, very supportive. But for us, what it means is if Martin & Co are powering us, they deal with the Rightmove contracts, they deal with legal infrastructure, they deal with the ombudsman and all of that stuff, which I really can't be bothered with. I just want to sell a blooming house.
This must be quite unique for Martin & Co to have like an associate model.
It is. If I'm totally honest, they didn't want this because the branding for Martin & Co is very important. But actually in Winchester, I believe, I don't want to blow a trumpet really, but it was about me and the fact that everyone's known me for 25 years. They're not coming to Martin and going to sell the house. They wanted Nony to do
But
it.
it's giving good credibility to both of you, isn't it? That you're not just a one-woman band, but you've got the credibility of a big firm, which, you know, is based down on the South Coast. So well done, Martin & Co, for allowing that.
They have been brilliant, but also for us, it means if there's ever a problem, I know there's a legal backing. And it also for clients to know that they are protected by a big company too.
So do Martin & Co put their own homes on the market if they, or do you do all the sales through the Winchester office of?
They do their own. So it takes that. So sometimes there's one, and they're thinking, "Is that for you, Nose, or should we take it?" And then we go, "Oh, yeah, I'll have that one. Can I have that one?" And they say, "Okay," and that will help them on pricing sometimes, and they will help me with stuff. But for us, it's knowing that if I'm here, there's 15 people in the office that are taking messages for us.
And you feel part of the team of Winchester, even though
Yeah.
you're so I mean, if you think about it, this is an ideal way. There's plenty of bosses out there who've got I'm using technical language, shit hot valuer, who could lose someone to your EXPs or your Kellers of this world to retain them within your organisation, but still having their own business.
Correct.
So you get the best of both worlds, don't you?
Correct. You give them autonomy, but they're protected, but they're not going somewhere else. So with them, so what's now happened, how it's now organically split, is that 25 years of Sam and my knowledge in the marketplace has brought a whole lot of clients to us organically. As well as that,
And some lettings business as well.
We don't do lettings.
No, but they do.
They do. If any lettings stuff comes, we just funnel it straight through Martin & Co, so they take all of that. We pay for all our advertising. We do. So we pay for we have back outside cover of 3 of the local magazines. So either lands face up on people's flats or face down. If it's down, it's got us up the top. We do local advertising with leaflet dropping, and we don't do the Royal Mail because I hate that. We have a leaflet dropper who delivers 3,000 leaflets a month.
Same houses every month?
Nearly always the same.
Okay, what's the message? And what's the message?
It's a very simple message. It's just got our photo on the front with just about 5 or 6 lines. This is us. And on the back, here are some of the pictures we've sold. There's nice, colourful pictures, and it's colourful and bright. And one of the reviews or testimonials in the middle. And people say it's quite pretty because it's got duck egg blue and white, and it's got some colours. So people put it on their fridge or stick it in the box. Or months later, they go, "Oh, we called you. Got this ages ago, but I put it in the drawer because I knew I was going to need you." So we use local leaflet dropper, and we use a local printer. We don't want to send it off to quick print. We use a local independent printer. We pay all their bills on the day they send them. Never keep people waiting. We really look after people. But once a property is going online, Martin & Co pick up the costs for that. We go and find the buyers, and they pick up costs of listing.
Would you have done anything differently since becoming under the associate model of Martin & Co?
No.
Are you happy?
Yeah. Because again, I think when I'm on evaluation, I'm a lot more confident knowing I don't have to spend all my time doing all this other paperwork. They're dealing with all of that.
Because most valuers don't like that, do they?
I don't want to do that. I want to spend my time with my clients. And we really wrap ourselves up with our clients. Our clients are family to us. If they don't want that, they can go to another agent. But most of the people that come to us tend to be over the age of 50. They know what real customer service is. They love the fact that we truly care. It's not play acting caring. I mean, Saturday afternoon, I thought I've got 4 completions on Wednesday this week. 4 completions on Wednesday. And I thought, just check in with everyone, see how they are. Now, you put out a post recently. I do read your stuff. Look at that. Where you said, why is it agents stop at exchange? We don't stop at exchange. We look after people all the way through completion and out the other side. So on Saturday, I rang each of my completions up and went, just checking in. How's the removals going? How's the packing going? Do you need anything from me? Are you okay? On completion day, this is what we're going to do. Just make sure. And one of them said to me, he said, "Oh my God, I was just about to call you. Are you in my head? You're so empathetic." And I went, "Yeah, we really care." I'm just thinking, if
now you have a raving fan there.
They're thinking.
Fantastic. Where will I see you in 5 years' time?
Probably still doing the same thing. My family are going, oh God,
Yes,
really?
but you're a pain in the ass when you're at home, like a whirling
Exactly.
dervish.
Yeah, they say, please don't ever retire.
Do you think you'll be working for another 10, 15 years?
I don't know about 10 or 15. I'm 61 now. So
Okay, but
please tell me I only look 25.
well, I didn't think you were that old.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm 61 now. So I've probably got another 5 or 6 years doing it properly full time, and then maybe just doing a few here and there.
Yeah, because I think you're a caged beast. I think you'll be hell to live with if you're not working.
Yeah, I'd be nuts, or I'd be drinking a lot of wine.
Nothing wrong with that, but everything in moderation.
And
Thank you for your time today, Nony.
pleasure.